Hi, it's Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome to Career Coach Office Hours. Tuesday. Ooh, let's see now. We had an error here. Go live. Let's see now. An error occurred with LinkedIn. That's weird. We're going to try. There we go. As I was saying, I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. People hire me for no BS job search coaching and career advice globally because I make the process of finding work and succeeding in it much easier. Tuesdays at noon Eastern, I spend a little bit of time doing what I call career coach office hours because I know job hunting is harder for many of you than it needs to be. And as a result, I want to take some of the mystery out of things for you, answer some questions, model some of the work that I do with people on jobsearch.community. Jobsearch.community is a site where I have courses, videos, books, guides, a lot of different information to help people with a job search. Now, I've got free information available on the homepage, of course, and enjoy it, download it, have fun with it, use it. Don't just download it and keep it on your in your Dropbox account. Act on some of the stuff that you download. And if you become an insider, you get access to all my video courses, books, and guides, including a new one that I just released late last week on changing careers. That's really very good. It's going to be the foundation for a book that I'm working on career change. So again, you get access to it early. And I think there are 25 video courses, books, and guides available to you currently, maybe 26 or 27. I don't remember the exact count. But in addition to that, if you become an insider, you get all of my video courses, books, and guides, and you can ask me questions and I'll respond usually within a few hours. Become an Insider Plus member and you get all of that. Plus, we get on a couple of Zoom calls a month. And if you become an Insider Premium member, everything that I mentioned up until this point you receive, plus we do either individual or group coaching. It is a great opportunity for you to learn from a master, namely me. And I say that because I worked in search for more than 40 years, filled more than 1,200 full-time positions, plus a lot of consulting assignments as well. And I know from whence I speak because I'm not just a coach who's acquired this knowledge from writing resumes, which I don't write resumes, but I've evaluated. I think the actual number is about 790,000 at this point. We really stopped counting not long ago, but I would guesstimate about 790,000 resumes I've reviewed. And, I've helped people find work. I know the ins and outs of the job search process, so I know I can help. So again, go to jobsearch.community. There's a lot there that will help you for free. And if you're wise enough to become an Insider Plus member, or an Insider Premium member, you get more personal service from me. And, if money's an issue for you, I always encourage become an Insider Plus member because we do those Zoom calls in addition to you getting all the other stuff I've mentioned. So it's inexpensive, really. This is not an Insider Plus membership is currently $79 a month. And I was charging more than that for two courses of mine, two video courses of mine. So I'll just simply say, become an Insider Plus member. I know I can help you land faster, as I have for many people. Now, if you've got a question for me, I want to encourage you to put it into chat so I can answer it live. And I already have a question lined up here that someone sent to me in advance of the show because not everyone can make the shows live. So, if you have a question for me, once a week, I'll answer it on Career Coach Office Hours, and you may have to wait a few days to get your answer. And that takes away the timeliness of it. But again, people send me questions in advance, and I answer them during the show. So the first question is, what does it mean when a hiring manager says she wants to meet me to go over a few details after my virtual interviews? I think that translates into she wants to make sure that you understand something about the role and wants to have a conversation with you in person, not just simply to tell you, but to gauge your response live. So that in this way, she has a clear picture as to whether or not you're really interested or whether you're going to just give her lip service there. So, what it means usually is she wants to sound you out about something. Doesn't mean you have the job because if you give her the impression you're not interested, she's not going to hire you. But let's start off with that premise that what she wants to do is gauge your interest in something and wants to see your actual reaction. It does not mean you have the job yet, but she wants to make sure that you understand. Also, another thing it may mean is that something surfaced that gives her a cause of concern. And as a result, what she wants to do is get her concerns resolved so she can feel comfortable about hiring you. Those tend to be the two primary reasons why something surfaces, and they would want to have a conversation with you. Good luck. Hope it turns out well. Yeah, I've got another question from someone. Is LinkedIn a good platform to get a job? Of course it is. If yes, why am I not getting a job through LinkedIn after 7 years of trying? Well, the obvious thing is your LinkedIn profile doesn't make a case for why you're qualified when recruiters are trying to find someone. Seriously, think of LinkedIn as a place where recruiters, like with job boards, are looking for people with particular backgrounds. So they're looking for keywords. And if your resume doesn't or profile doesn't have particular keywords that are marketable, you're going to be out of luck. No one's going to contact you. And I know there are firms that basically encourage people to have what I nickname name, rank, and serial number LinkedIn profiles, where you just have your name, and when it comes time to provide the data about your background, what they want you to do is have nothing underneath their company name. So it's company name and dates and nothing there. So I'll just say, don't fall for that. Do what you have to do and look out for yourself. And give people a reason to want to contact you. Now, it may also be that you don't have skills that anyone cares about. Now, for example, LinkedIn is probably not a good site for a bartender to find work. My son happens to be a bartender. That's why I bring it up. No disrespect to bartenders, but think of it from the standpoint of who's on LinkedIn. Answer: people who are trying to fill jobs for office professionals, often with technology skills, but not people in leisure and hospitality, for example, not in construction. So if you have a background that doesn't really relate to what it is people look for when they're hiring from people on LinkedIn, then you're not going to get any contacts and you're not going to get hired. So is it a good platform? Is it a good a way to get a job? Absolutely. But for people with particular skills and experiences. What are those skills? I can only give you a broad answer to it. It's not like I can break it down, the specifics of an accountant. We could be here for a year with me reciting, the specific job categories that people find work. So I hope you found this helpful. And I'll just remind you all, if you've got a question, there we go. If you've got a question about job search, put your question into chat so I can answer it for you. Okay? Now, give me 1 second. I have to scroll down to where my list of questions is. And why is it not surfacing? So bear with me just 1 second. I had to close the program out, and I'm going to restart it. And this way, hopefully, this is very weird. Let's see if this does it. this is not what I was looking for. It's not giving me what I normally have in the way of notes here. So I'm going to work with some older questions. And not all of them are, bear with me, I'm winging it a little bit from a master list that I have that I was going to use for videos. So I don't know what happened to my list of questions here, but right now I'm I'm fumbling here. So first one here is it too late to reply to a recruiter who messaged me 1 month ago on LinkedIn? No, it's not too late, but the probability is the job that they contacted you about is no longer hot for them. It's not anything that you should expect to get a result from. But what I would start off by saying to them is, I apologize, but I tried to, I didn't log on to LinkedIn for a while, or I didn't see your message. I just stumbled into it. And I know it's a month ago that you messaged me, but I am interested if the job is still available. Could you walk me through the position? Oh, the job's gone. I just want to be courteous enough to get back to you and apologize. I know you had something available. And notice what I'm trying to do. You're trying to be human. And as a result, the goal here is to reconnect with them, to demonstrate that you weren't the jerk ignoring their request in trying and never getting back to them, and basically indicating that you made a mistake. What is the worst mistake you can make in salary negotiations? I think the worst mistake is overplaying your hand. And before that, an even worse mistake is not recognizing when salary negotiation actually is starting. To me, salary negotiation starts from the first time that they ask you a question about, sorry, let me take that out. They ask you a question about what you're looking for in the way of salary. And the result winds up being is if you just chat along and think that that's not a negotiation tactic on their part, you're mistaken. Most people act like negotiating begins at the time of the offer. From their standpoint, it begins in the first interview when you're talking with them about what you're looking for. Now, overplaying your hand is we're making you an offer. It's for, I'm just going to pick a number at random, 175 plus bonus, plus, plus, plus. And then you turn around and say, I know I've been talking about 175, but I really would like 220. And that just gets them annoyed. And if they do hire you, and yes, you do get an acceptable amount of money, you wind up in a situation where they hate your guts. Really, they start to hate you. And rather than ever put yourself in that position, what I want to encourage you to do is just be courteous, but just be respectful and talk to them like a real human being rather than trying to oversell yourself and your qualifications. Let's see now. Okay. So these were not the questions I received from people. And folks, I apologize. Something with my software here has messed up. Okay. Why do recruiters reach out to candidates who are unqualified for the position they are promoting? I think they are trying to fill. It would be a more accurate description. So the answer is, it's really very simple. Often what happens is they're not reading. I know there were times when I wasn't reading what was sent to me, and the result wound up being, that's interesting, can't post comments to sudden destinations. Okay, sorry. So they reach out because they're not really reading the resume. And what they're using is technology to identify people with particular keywords in the resume, but not really looking at your resume. The result winds up being you may have the term in it, but you're not really right for the job. I'll use an example. Um, let's say it was a piece of technology and it existed in your background 10 years ago, but you've grown and you're not a technologist like you once were. Once you were a developer, now you manage people who develop. And their search string didn't really try to differentiate between one and the other. So they're approaching you about a developer role, and you're now a director. You're managing people or leading people who use that technology, for example, but that's not you. And the result winds up being that, for you, it's a waste of your time. And for them, all they're doing is spamming resumes to the Western Hemisphere to see whether anything sticks. So that's how it happens. Really, that's how it really happens. So I'll just simply say, put your questions about job search into chat so I can help you. Okay. And whoever's on Facebook watching me, hi, how are you? Say hi back, please. I'd love to hear from you. What does it mean? Let's see now. If you tell the recruiter you have no interest working for that hiring manager, and hi, Terry, no interest in working for that hiring manager, and he calls you 5 times. Why does he even care at this point? Well, we know he can't take a hint, but maybe what he's trying to do is understand why it is that you're not interested in working for that person, working for them. And they're kind of hurt and curious and puzzled and wondering where you got that information. And they want to talk with you and understand what it is and see if they can fix the issue so you might consider their opportunity. So you tell the recruiter you don't want to work for that hiring manager, and that recruiter now knows a secret about that person and has told them that you don't want to work for them. After all, they looked at your resume, they decided they want to talk to you, recruiter contacts you, you say, who's this position reporting to? And you say, and they say, so such and such. Oh, I don't want to work for them. Really? Why so? I really don't want to get into it. Now the manager wants to know why this person isn't on their calendar because they're thrilled to talk to you. They see a great background and they want to get you onto the calendar. The screener was there to figure out whether you were suitable. And then from there, they want to talk to you. So the long and the short of it is what you've done is create some consternation for the hiring manager. They want to know why. And they're calling you multiple times because they're anxious. And they want to see if they can change your mind. Okay. And we've got more here. And I hope at some point those other questions come back because people messaged me in advance with those questions. And now I can't answer them because they're lost in the abyss. Okay. How do you respond to a failed salary negotiation? I don't know under what conditions it failed. Failed salary negotiation for you as a job hunter translate in my mind into someone who didn't get what they wanted and turned down the offer. So with that being the assumption I'm working with, the easiest thing you can do is to say, I really want to thank you for the opportunity to meet with you, talk about this position, yada, yada, yada. Obviously go into a little bit more detail than yada, yada, yada. But, I don't see where we can make this work. So I'm going to turn down the offer. I hope there's a time in the future we can connect again. Maybe we can stay in touch going forward. But the money that's being proposed to me just doesn't work for me. So as a result, I don't want to dance around and give you the impression that I'm interested when I'm not. What do you mean you're going to turn down the offer? Yeah, I'm not going to be joining you because the money isn't quite right for me. And they growl and they grunt. They do all that sort of stuff. And it doesn't matter. Just be courteous in response. No yelling, no screaming, nothing along those lines, because what you want to do is stay in contact with this person going forward. Okay? So, how do you respond to it? Courteously. That's the best answer I can give you. Let's see now. Oh, yes, I like this one. I just submitted a job application. How long should I expect to wait for a response? The answer is until they decide to get in touch with you. Like, you're sitting there thinking that hiring you or filling this position is the only thing they have to work on. And thus, they should be jumping through hoops. So they're not going to do that. They're doing multiple things concurrently. So the answer, in truth, is until they've had a chance to review your resume and decide whether or not they should talk to you, given all their meetings, given all the other conversations they have, given all the other interviews that they're conducting, given the quality of the software that they're using that will filter people for them. It really depends. And rather than be in a situation where I'm giving you a BS answer, which I don't want to do, just be patient. And if you haven't heard anything in 2 days, message them and say, I uploaded my resume for such and such position, haven't heard back, don't know if you had a chance to look at it. If you haven't, I'm rejected, just let me know. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll just simply say, if you've got a question for me about job search, put your question into chat so I can answer it for you today. Oh, yes. There's a lot of salary negotiation things in here today because these were topics I have filed away for videos, but I'm using them today to answer questions because my software ate the questions. So, how do I use a competing offer in salary negotiations? So there's a couple of ways that you can do it. Number one is, and again, I'm not going to be overt here. I'd rather be subtle here. So when they're trying to get a flavor for what you'd be looking for, and they ask, so what would you say the rock bottom base salary is exclusive of bonus that you'd consider joining our firm? I would respond by saying, assuming I'm interested in the role, responsibilities, my hiring manager and such, my rock bottom salary is the same number I just told you, because frankly, other organizations are finding it pretty comfortable to meet that number or more. So please don't expect I'm going to be flexible at this point. How many other interviews do you have going on? I'm talking to 3 or 4 other firms at this point that seem interested in the salary. I'm on first, seconds, or thirds with these firms, and no one's balking at the salary. So I'll just say the salary that I quoted to you is the right number for me. Okay. Now, I've got more that I had video topics for. I think I've answered this one, so I'm going to skip over that. Why are hiring managers so cruelly selective in their hiring process? Oh, excuse me for laughing. They are selective because they have a job to get done. Their job is not to placate you. Their job is to resolve a business issue for which they need to hire a person. Cruelly selective is quite a choice of terms. They are selective. From your standpoint, it may seem cruel to you because your background doesn't fit what they're looking for and you really want to do this job, but unfortunately you're not qualified to do it, and thus you interpret that as cruelly selective in the hiring process, when in point of fact what they're being is selective, not cruelly selective. So I'm going to pause at this point, since um, I'm working with an inventory of questions rather than the real ones. Uh, I'll recover the data and be back next Tuesday at noon Eastern with more. I'm Jeff Altman. Visit jobsearch.community, where I have a lot there to help you. Plus, if you become an insider member, you get access to all my video courses, books, and guides, plus the ability to ask me questions through the site to help you in your job search. Become an Insider Plus member. In addition to everything I've mentioned, you also get me on a couple of Zoom calls a month. Also, if you become an Insider Premium member, we do individual or group coaching, plus the Zoom calls, plus all the video courses, books, and guides. There's just a lot more that I can do that way. So I do hope you have a terrific day. I apologize for cutting this a couple of minutes short, but I just don't have the data I normally have. Be great. Take care.